what's going on, everybody? This is John Jank Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with something a little bit different, man. I was looking at, the stats of this past college football season, since things did wrap up earlier this week officially, and one of the worst rushing attacks in all of college football was the Stanford Cardinal, and it got me thinking, what if we put a demigod at running back? Can we turn Stanford from the worst rushing attack in college football and make them #1 in the game? So if that's something that interests you, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe if you happen to be brand new. And in case you guys were wondering as well, EJ Smith is a real player. He is listed 3rd on the depth chart for the Stanford Cardinal. But one caveat is I did bump his stats up to make him 99. He should be the next Barry Sanders, the next LaDainian Tomlinson, the next Adrian Peterson. You get the picture, man. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at Stanford's schedule, since we'll have probably 2 years tops to get from worst to first. So here we are in EJ Smith's freshman year, and I'm looking at this schedule. We got a lot going on here. We start with a rivalry game against San Jose State. I honestly didn't know that. Then we have a road game against Oklahoma, led by Spencer Rattler and that dangerous Oklahoma team. Multiple top 25 ranked opponents: Arizona State, Washington, Utah is it up in here, Oregon, USC, and then we got to close out with a home game, thankfully, but it's against Notre Dame. So one of the most difficult challenges that we're going to have to navigate. I'll check in back with you guys. We're about 6 games into the season. But with that being said, let's go ahead and do some simming. I'll get back to you guys in a little bit. All right, man. So we ended up simming to the halfway point, and we're rocking we were on a 4-game losing streak. We started off losing to San Jose State. It was a game in which, EJ Smith, he's not getting a lot of touches, man. 13 for 88, a touchdown. So we barely lost to San Jose State. We then get blown out by Oklahoma. They demolish us by a score of 42-17. Not a good look for us, but EJ Smith was the player of the game for us there, at least. Able to get like 100 yards there. Blown out by Arizona State. We lost by 30 there. Barely lose to Washington State, but then we turn it around a little bit. We beat Washington. They were a preseason top 25 team. We took care of them, and then we barely beat Utah. So we're now on a 2-game winning streak. We're 2-4, and our schedule is looking a little bit better. I think there's a couple games that we can win, but it's certainly going to be tough, especially if it seems like EJ Smith is not being utilized all that much. So we check in on EJ Smith's stats for the season so far, and right now, it's not like out of this world that I expected. 103 carries, 656 yards, 8 touchdowns. It's good, but it's not as great that I anticipated. He does also come in 10 catches, 158 yards, and a touchdown so far. Has he done anything to kick return? He actually isn't said as the kick return person. That's a little crazy to me. But right now, doesn't have any rushing fumbles, at least. Broken multiple tackles, and he still has a good yards per carry, 6.4 yards a carry. Let's see if they use him a little bit more in the second half of the season, and let's see what EJ Smith's final stats are for his freshman campaign. Alright, so I thought with those 2 games that we won, we were starting to turn around a corner, maybe, to having a successful year. That definitely did not happen whatsoever. We end up finishing 3-9, and we lose 5 of our last 6 games. First of all, we lost big to not only UCLA, who's ends up number 4 in the nation right now, but Oregon State too. We lost to Oregon State big. We lost to... we didn't lose to Oregon big, but we still lost to them at home. We got blown out by USC and Cal in one of our rivalry games. And then we closed things out. We somehow managed to find a way to get an upset on Notre Dame, who did have a good year themselves. They finished 5-7 in this one. And that was with our quarterback finishing, 6 for 26. Is that what I saw? Looks like EJ Smith did not get the ball that much in that game, so we'll have to dive in and see not only how his stats are over the course of his season, but how we did running the football as a team this year. So first and foremost, it looks like EJ Smith did end up getting banged up there in the second half of the season, and this is despite the fact that he has a 99 injury rating. That is insane to me, but despite that, he still finishes over 1,000 yards on the ground, 200 carries, 8 touchdowns, running the football, and then receiving wise, 17 catches, 266, and a touchdown as well. A good year, but for someone of his caliber, was expecting a little bit more, to be honest. We'll see how this stacks up with the rest of college football. So EJ Smith, now we haven't gone through like the bowl season or conference championships yet, anything like that, but EJ Smith finishes in the top 40 among NCAA rushers. He's 39th with that 1,171 yards, so he's in that top 50 category. Definitely a high-end RB1 for sure. Taking a look at rushing yards real quick, looks like Georgia Southern is top. We're not in the bottom. That's the good news. We are certainly not at the bottom. Mississippi State is actually at the bottom, but that's no surprise because they are a famous air raid team. We certainly aren't on top either. We can't beat out the military academies, and that's where we are. We finished about the middle of the pack. We still finished 3-9 though, which is tough. So with that being said, EJ Smith should have at least one more year until he probably leaves for the NFL. And with that being said, I'll cut you guys to, once we get through the offseason, all that stuff in the Dynasty, we'll see what EJ Smith's schedule looks like for year 2. Alright, man, so second time around trying to get things going for EJ Smith. And once again, we got a really difficult schedule. Starting off with road games against TCU, Washington. Then we got Washington State and Utah, who's number 5 in the country, by the way. Arizona State is also in the top 25. And then we end things up with a pretty crazy gauntlet in the last 4, 5, 6 games. Got Notre Dame, obviously, but then Oregon's ranked. UCLA is ranked. Same thing with USC. And then, California's no slouch. And then the Army Academy, they're always tough to go up against. We do have a bye in week 14, but it's going to be a tough one. So once again, I'll see you guys at the halfway point of this season to see if we can have better results in EJ Smith's sophomore campaign. Let's hope for the best. Alright, man, so we end up getting halfway through EJ Smith's sophomore season, and we're doing a lot better, man. We're doing a lot better than the first time around. Start off with a close loss at TCU. That's not a great look, but we do end up beating Washington State, Utah on the road. They was a top 5 team at the time, I believe. And then we also end up crushing Oregon State 44-17, man. I love to see that. EJ Smith was player of the game. He was really good in that one. 146 and a tub. Also managed to put up 466 for a touchdown. So 2 touchdowns against Oregon State for EJ Smith. Then we did end up losing to Arizona State, but that's not the fault of our offense. We ended up losing by 10 because Arizona State dropped a 50 burger, almost managed to put a 60 burger on us. Second half of the schedule, though, not going to be easy. We still have Notre Dame. They're improved as a football team. Oregon's undefeated. UCLA, USC, they're all in the top 25. So these 4 games are going to tell us a lot about how good we really are before we close out against California and Army. Another thing that EJ Smith has done is he's improved on his stats from this time last year. He now has 725 yards and 7 touchdowns, 7.6 yards a carry too. That's more than last year. So the talent around him must be improving quite a bit. Also, not getting hurt helps. And he also already has the same number of catches as he did his whole freshman year. He does have 1 drop pass, but not that big of a deal. Similar number of yards, 3 touchdowns. So, looking pretty good. He's still 99 across the board. And, he's a good looking back, man. What can I say? We'll see if EJ Smith can reach double-digit touchdowns in his sophomore campaign. Alright, man. So before I go ahead and get into how Stanford finished this season, we're on some award lists, man. EJ Smith, he is in the top 10 for the Walter Camp Award. He's currently sitting at 8th as a sophomore, by the way. Ended up with 18 total touchdowns and close to, what was it, 1,800 yards of total offense. That's really good, if I say so myself. So he's 8th in the Walter Camp. We'll go ahead and see if he's in any of these other awards. Probably not in any of the of those. For running back, he is at 9th right now. Couldn't get ahead of some of these other guys that are ahead of him. Blinikoff, that's for wide receivers. I thought I saw him on the Jet Award. We'll see if he is. And oh, it's for a different running back. Okay, so that's good for him. Let's go ahead and see how we ended up finishing this year, though. So we end up finishing 3rd place in the Pac-12 North, and we also end up finishing 7-5. So that's going to be good enough to go to a bowl game for sure. Plus, EJ Smith, he's actually healthy. One thing that is a little bit unfortunate, we did go on a 3-game losing streak, lost to Notre Dame, Oregon, and UCLA. But then we rebounded. We won against USC, won against Cal, who only went 1-11, and then we did end up beating Army. So we end the regular season on a 3-game winning streak. And for EJ Smith's potentially last game, I don't know what's going to happen, if he's going to declare or not. I personally think he should. We're going to go to a bowl game, so let's go ahead and see what bowl game that ends up being. Alright, so it looks like we are actually going to go to the San Diego Credit Union Holiday Bowl. We're going to be taking on another Power 5 opponent in Virginia Tech from the ACC, and it's basically going to be a home game for us. We're a California team. We get to stay in California for this bowl game, and like I said, since it might be EJ Smith's final game, I'm going to go ahead and just hop into this bowl game and just go ahead and see how nice this dude is on the football field. I'll see you guys there for the bowl game. Alright, man, so the first time that we get to see EJ Smith step on a football field, at least in actual gameplay, not just us trying to simulate anything. So we'll see how EJ Smith does, man. We'll see how he ends up doing, here in this Holiday Bowl, if he actually wants to be here, of course, because he might very well leave for the NFL after this game is over. I'm actually really surprised that he doesn't end up opting out, which, by the way, I hope that's included as well in the newest EA college football game, seeing, certain guys that, are projected to go to the NFL opt out of these lesser bowl games. As we're seeing EJ Smith get to the outside, he's got some space to work with, man. Almost made another man miss. But biggest run of the day so far, 26-yarder. And even though Virginia Tech, they're trying to go ahead and go about, keying in on him. I mean, he is a demigod at running back, right? So I would do the same thing, to be honest. He's still managing to find a way. He's still managing to go about, getting some yards, still averaging, 6-7 yards a carry, even though they are trying to key in on this man. He's already got 62 yards in this one, and we're not even through a full quarter of football yet, technically. So definitely seeing some good stuff from EJ Smith early on, the demigod at running back, as they are certainly going about making him the vocal point of this offense. We'll see if that still continues, though, as we do end up finding ourselves down. I am only playing the offensive snaps, of course, because EJ Smith obviously does not play any defense or anything like that. So it is what it is, but we will pick up another first down of EJ. We'll see if we can get to this outside. We sort of do. A gain of 11 once again. Really, that 99 speed really coming into play at this point, as we now go ahead and run it up the gut with him once more. Got him roll up in the highlights for this man, of course, as now first and goal. Can we get it in the end zone with, no, it's a different running back. It's Austin Jones that gets into the end zone for the Stanford Cardinal. So it's not our demigod at running back. He gets subbed out, and he's going to end up missing out on a touchdown because of it temporarily taking the lead. But we're here in this fourth quarter. That's when it becomes really the most important time of this game. We need the best players to come through and do their thing, man. We'll see if EJ Smith's up to it. As it's not, again, is Austin Jones. And Jones got a crease to work with, and he's going to find the end zone as well. Touchdown, Stanford. And definitely a back and forth game here as well, as we now have just a narrow lead. We'll see if we do have what it takes to go ahead and maybe run out the rest of this clock, get a touchdown to really ice this thing. You know, still anyone could win this game, but it is looking good for Stanford as of right now as well. We'll see what we end up doing here. 1st and 10. Got a chance to run out the clock a little bit. Make sure Virginia Tech runs out of timeouts as our boy finds the end zone in the end of the 4th quarter. And that will end up icing some things up here, man. And we end up taking care. We should be taking care of business unless something really wonky happens here at the end of this game. Is Virginia Tech, they are just going to run out of timeouts, and we take care of business. E.J. Smith ending up with a pretty good game, man. Ended up with a lot of yardage, I would say. You know, my man definitely did his thing for sure. Does not get play of the game, and I don't think he's going to end up getting player of the game as well. So, hey, man, nice little bowl game action. Alright, so not only did we end up winning this Holiday Bowl, but we also end up doing our thing out there. E.J. Smith, kind of contained for his standards, but he still averaged 5 yards a carry, 34 for 170, did get that big touchdown run at the end of the game. Although he wasn't a big impact in the passing game, though, he only had the 1 catch for 6 yards. But hey, a win is a win. And I'm curious to see, A, what his final stats are, and also, are we a little bit closer to the top of the NCAA in terms of rushing yards? Let's go ahead and find out right now. Alright, so here we are in the end of E.J. Smith's sophomore campaign, and I'm sitting here, and we've actually ended up finishing in the top 5. We end up finishing in 4th place. We only get dogged on by, you know, McCormick of UTSA, Tank Bigsby of Auburn, and then Vidal of Troy. But other than that, you know, really good season for E.J. Smith. Really built on his freshman year. Helps that he didn't get hurt this time around. But what does the team stats say? Did we go from worst to first? Now, we did end up with one of the best offenses in college football. We were in the top 10 in that regard, but nowhere near the top 10 in rushing. Man, that is tough one. We're getting closer. We're, you know, I would say like about top 20, top 25, I would say, in terms of rushing offense. Ended up with 2,700 yards on the year, but it's not from worst. Well, it's not from worst to first, but I mean, we're definitely up there. We'll see if E.J. Smith actually declares for the NFL draft or he stays another year. I was shocked if he stays. All right, so we do have a running back going to the NFL, but it's not our guy. It's Austin Jones. He's a projected 3rd round pick, but, you know, the other 2 guys are graduating from, you know, just being seniors, but E.J. Smith, he's actually going to stick around. I'm actually really surprised by that, but that means we have another shot for E.J. Smith to build himself up, and let's see if we can actually get him to go ahead and put himself, you know, up in that 2,000 yard category. We get a 3rd shot at this thing. So we do actually get a 3rd shot at this thing, and maybe in a good way. Our strength of schedule is not nearly as bad this time around. We end up with, you know, starting off with Northwestern, which they aren't that good, to be honest. Then we have our Pac-12 schedule, Oregon State and Oregon, both in the top 25. Then we have a solid Mountain West opponent in Boise State. Before we round things up with number 19 USC, our rival in Cal, and our rival in Notre Dame for the season finale. I'll catch you guys at the halfway mark of this season and see how we're doing. Let's see if we can get E.J. Smith to that 2,000 yard campaign. Alright, man, so we're about halfway through the first part of this season, and honestly, really disappointing stuff so far. We lost on the road to Northwestern, did beat Oregon State in conference play, but then lose big to Oregon, lose close to UCLA and Colorado, and then round things out with a win against Arizona. But 2-4 is certainly not where we wanted to be right now, but that being said though, I mean, besides the Boise State game, they actually turned out to be a lot worse than us right now. We got a tough schedule ahead of us. I mean, Washington, USC, Notre Dame are all teams that we got to go face in the second half of this season. It's not where we want to be, but it is what it is. And the thing is, EJ Smith is not doing so good, man. Like, he's on his pace for like the least number of touchdowns in a season, 78 carries, 572 yards, and only 3 touchdowns to show for it. And also on top of that, only has 9 catches to this point, so could be doing a little bit more for this team. 7 touchdowns might not necessarily be cutting it through 6 games. And I mean, we need more from him, especially if he wants to go to the NFL as a junior. We'll see if he can make Stanford Bowl eligible, but it's not looking really good. But you never know what could happen in the beautiful game that is college football. Alright, so surprisingly, we actually do get ourselves the bowl eligibility. I don't know how we pulled it off, to be honest with you. EJ Smith, he did his thing, man. 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns on the ground. We'll have to check on the receiving yards later, but we actually end up winning 4 of our last 6 games. We did lose 2 of our last 3, barely lost in USC, but then Notre Dame actually tore us to strength. They should go to the college football playoff. But I mean, listen, man, we beat Boise State, beat Washington and Washington State, so we're 2-0 against the Washington teams, and we'll get ourselves the bowl eligibility. But you know, nothing's guaranteed. We'll see if we actually go to a bowl game, and if we do, what that bowl game actually is. All right, so once again, we go to the San Diego Credit Union Bowl. That's the Holiday Bowl, and this time we take on a ranked Georgia Tech squad. Now, last year, I'm pretty sure I went to this exact same bowl game, and since it's not really like a New Year's Six bowl, I'm going to sim this off screen, but I'll let you guys know what the results are of that, as well as what EJ Smith's stats ends up being for that. Alright, so we simulated the Holiday Bowl, and we actually do win it once again. We beat a ranked Georgia Tech squad. We beat them 41-31, and doing so with a great fourth quarter that brought us back into the game and helped us win the thing at the end of the day. Looking at the stats, we weren't named player of the game, but EJ Smith did have a pretty good one. 21 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He did not catch any footballs though, so you know, only did it with the rushing game. And now the moment of truth. How did we stack up against the rest of the nation? Right now, looking at rushing yards, and EJ Smith's outside the top 5. He finishes 35th, so that's not good. It's not bad, you know, by any means, but like for the sake of this experiment, we're not accomplishing what we want to accomplish. Like, we are nowhere close to having ourselves, you know, the best rushing attack in college football, not even counting Air Force and Army, because those are military academies, and they will almost always, you know, run with the run with the football with that triple option, right? So we're actually right about like the upper middle. Did end up with 2,500 yards rushing, but we were not close to having the best rushing attack in America. We'll see if he actually goes to the NFL or not. I think he should, honestly, but with NCAA 14, I wouldn't be shocked if he actually stays for his senior year. Alright, man, so NCAA 14 continues to surprise me as we do not go to the NFL. 99 overall running back, you guys. Like, this is absolutely insane to me. Yeah, so that means we have one more chance to go after having the best rushing attack in college football. I'll see you guys there as we get ready for EJ Smith's senior campaign. Alright, man, so we are out here getting ready for the senior campaign, man, and again, another A+ schedule that we gotta deal with. At least non-conference doesn't look terrible overall. We do have Rice to get things started, but then gotta go take on, you know, the Pac-12, right? You know, there are some good teams. For next, this gauntlet right here is just ridiculous, right? Colorado, Washington, Notre Dame, Oregon, them, and then USC, right? And then we close out with California and Western Kentucky. This is going to be a tough gauntlet. We're going to have to overcome it. This time, I'm going to sim all the way to the end of his senior year just to see what happens. I'll catch you guys there, and if we make it to a major bowl game, I will play that for you guys. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and probably sim that as well. So I'll see you guys at the end of the regular season for EJ Smith's senior campaign. Let's see what happens. Alright guys, so we actually made ourselves through the end of the regular season, and we actually messed around and made it to the Pac-12 championship game. Now USC, they do get to host this one. They are one of the few conferences that still doesn't have like a neutral site conference championship or anything like that. So we're on the road, taking on a pretty tough USC squad. USC always seems like a really strong program, you know, in these NCAA 14 dynasties, no matter what NCAA 14 dynasty that I'm running right over the years. So just something that I noticed. And early on, man, we got ourselves a pretty good game. We are up 21-14. We do end up taking a 2-score lead over the Trojans as of right now. But, I mean, this USC squad, man, they are built different, and they can always score at any moment. So we just got to keep that gas on the gas pedal, man, or at least our foot on the gas pedal, as we get ourselves a nice little lead, man. We're up by 3 scores, almost made it 4 scores, but we did end up stalling out a little bit there on that previous drive, as USC, man, they're trying to mount a little bit of a comeback, but I don't know if they're gonna have enough time. Oh, wait a minute, it's a 1-score game. Can we run out the clock? No, oh no. Whoo, we gotta stop. Thank goodness we managed to get it stopped. We almost blew a 21-point lead in a Power 5 conference championship game, man. That is tough. But we do end up winning the Pac-12 championship. Let's go ahead and see how EJ Smith, man, and he was built different in this one. 39 carries, 193 yards to go with it as well. A touchdown on the ground. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Also managed to chip in with 5 catches, 34 yards as well. So a really good day, a really impactful day for EJ Smith, as he ends up with more than 200 yards of total offense. That is what you expect out of your very best college football players. So, and that being said, we do also get ourselves a Heisman Trophy winner as well. EJ Smith winning it in his senior campaign, doing so with 22 touchdowns, and also chipping in with what? 2,100, 2,200 total yards of total offense. That is what I absolutely love to see. Doing it just in a big way, man. I am so happy. But we do get to go to the Rose Bowl, though. But we're taking on North Carolina, which is really surprising to me. Usually the Big Ten champion is here in the Rose Bowl, but I mean, it's a little bit, I guess they might be going to the national championship or something. Meanwhile, in case you guys are wondering, playoff utility still doesn't work on my Xbox. So typically Stanford would be going to the college football playoff, you know, participating in that kind of action. But that being said, though, as we're just checking out all our hardware real quick, I'm on the Doak Walker, the Walter Camp, the Heisman Trophy, just a lot of awards for our guy for sure, man. We got to go ahead and see where our guy is chilling right now. So EJ Smith, he's at about 1,700 yards of total offense. He's currently 3rd in the NCAA. So we'll see if we can use this Rose Bowl as an opportunity, because we do have one last game to play in. We'll see if that is going to be enough in order to get us into, you know, that #1 spot. All right, man, so we're out here in the Rose Bowl. Let's see our guys go to work, as EJ Smith, he's going to get a little bit of a carry on the outside. He's going to pick up a gain of 10. And that gets us just outside of 1,700 yards of total rushing, man. You love to see it, as EJ Smith, you know, he's going to make his impact felt. You know, first drive of the game, you know, we're going to be riding him. You already know what time it is, man. But we get into later in this drive. Going to try to finish the drive up, and we do see a touchdown to Lucas Unger, the tight end, number 89. We take an early lead on the North Carolina Tar Heels, led by, really just a solid roster. Mac Brown, I believe, is still the coach. I was just having a little bit of a brain fart there, but, you know, really after that, you know, really don't see a lot of EJ Smith. But even though, you know, EJ Smith is getting a little bit more contained, in this game. You know, we're still in it. We're still only down by 3 points. We just got to make sure, you know, our guys really come through and, you know, make something shake here, man. 6-yard gain for E.J. Smith. That, you know, almost is a, you know, a little bit close to a first down. We ended up settling for a field goal there, actually, as, yeah, North Carolina, they are just making it really tough for us to go ahead and run this football real quick. We'll see if we can get a little bit better results here. 2nd and 10. Smith, you know, getting a little bit more warmed up once again. Maybe we're wearing down this North Carolina front 7 a little bit. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But, hey, we're still only down by a possession despite all that, as we might break one here. But Smith gets tackled from behind. You are a 99 speed, my guy. How are you getting tackled from behind, though? How are you going to let people catch up to you like that? As, you know, Smith still hasn't broken, you know, the big run as of yet, but still got us in a situation to where we can still win the Rose Bowl, as Willie Kelly gets that touchdown grab, as we see a school record broken. Ari Patu with the most passing touchdowns in a season, actually breaking Andrew Luck's record in the process, so that's really cool. We do see E.J. Smith getting stuck behind a couple of guys. If it was like a clear lane, oh, baby, you know we were going to be gone. Like a girl in a country song, as I say, as getting close to the end of this game, man. Minute 20 left to play. And our biggest stars are aligning right now for sure, man. E.J. Smith, 1st and 10. Minute left to go in the Rose Bowl. Smith got a little bit of space. They give him the ball again. And a little gain of 5 yards because of him, man. 30 carries, 116. We'll see if we go to him again. They will. Smith, end zone. And look at this. This might be the game-winning touchdown in the Rose Bowl. Okay, baby. You love to see it. And look at that, man. We win the Rose Bowl in our 99 overalls final collegiate game. And look at that. We even get a player of the game. Or not player of the game, but at least like the play of the game, obviously. I mean, it's the game-winning touchdown in the Rose Bowl. If it was going to be something else, like, come on, man. Like, you can't do my guy like that. We'll see if E.J. Smith does win player of the game as well, and he doesn't. That's going to go to the quarterback, Ari Patu. 17 for 27, 188, and 3 touchdowns in this one. But, yeah, man, we got that Rose Bowl trophy, ended on a high note. Alright, man, well, it wasn't always the prettiest for E.J. Smith, but he did end up with 122 yards and the game-winning touchdown in the Rose Bowl. It took us over the top against North Carolina. However, we just could not get him going in the receiving game. We tried to set up a few screens for him. He had a few catches, but -3 yards. They were really trying their best to key on this guy, but he still found a way to get into the end zone, and that end zone score made a huge difference in this game after all. So even if we don't end up, you know, doing what we wanted to set out in this experiment, we do something cool for E.J. Smith. We get him the school record for most rushing yards in a career. He ends up with close to 6,000 rushing yards. Ends up with also the most touchdown of their career, 54 touchdowns on the ground as well. A couple more school records to go with it, you know, win a Rose Bowl, all that good stuff. But now comes the moment of truth. Did we get the top rushing attack in all of college football? Did we do it? We got the 3rd best rusher in college football. E.J. Smith ended up finishing 3rd, behind only Ken Griffin and Fred McKinney, you know, both of which, you know, they're non-Power 5 schools. You know, we played against tougher competition. Let's see what these team stats are. Looking at the top rushers, and we aren't on here. We are not even in the top 10, so we don't set out. We were pretty close, though. I think this was the closest that we end up getting to. We are definitely in that top 20 for sure, but we did not set out what we wanted to go about doing, unfortunately. And that's going to wrap things up here, man. We did not, you know, even a 99 overall running back, we could not make Stanford the #1 rushing offense in college football. So with that being said, you know, I hope you enjoyed this experiment. Let me know down in the comments, by the way, with what experiments you want me to try next. But in the meantime, this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping that you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell because YouTube trips and sometimes, getting videos out to you guys. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.